today we're going to be talking about caring and connection. So looking at how we can balance relationships and friendships while still looking after someone.
Is about really exploring the demands that caring can have and how it can leave little time or energy left for connection with others. And this can lead to feelings of isolation and loneliness. Also, carers may feel some guilt for prioritizing time away from the person that we look after. It might be that we feel that there is a lack of understanding from others about our responsibilities, or we might find it a source of tension in relationships with friends or family. So all of this can weaken our connections with others, maybe with our partners, friends, and family, making it harder to have healthy relationships. Looking after a family member or friend can also mean that we have fewer opportunities to meet new people or form different types of connections, such as through a hobby or indeed time for dating.
So you might ask, well, why does it matter? But actually being connected to others in a way that works for us is really important. It's important for our well-being and our quality of life. As humans, we need other human connection.
Yeah, well, really, we're here, to think about how caring can impact connections with others. So really, it's inviting Claire and Ingrid to tell us a little bit about how connection and relationships, friendships have been for you, alongside your caring role.
It's such a big question, isn't it? Because I think it affects all of our relationships on all sorts of different levels. And I suppose that first one is about the relationship with the person that you care for and how it changes that dynamic. For me, it's my husband. So, he's become the patient and I've become the kind of bossy carer, stroke nurse, stroke organizer. And I guess that can be tricky. And I think we have to be careful to sort of realise that, yes, that has become the dynamic, but we're still married and we still want to enjoy watching TV together or seeing friends together. It's really important not to lose that, I think. I guess it's affected my relationship with my family because they still live in the Midlands and my parents are quite elderly, so it's very hard for them to get here and I can't get to them. So I'm mindful of being concerned about that. I anticipate needing to care for them at some point in the future as well, and I worry about them. They worry about me. I know that we're not always honest with each other when we talk over the phone because they don't want to tell me stuff. My dad's recently been having tests for prostate cancer and they've only just told me. So I think it's about trying to maintain relationships at a distance as well. And then I guess there's the whole thing about friendship, isn't there? And, I count myself very lucky to have good friends nearby. When I see them, it will always involve a dog walk because we have pets and I have very little time. So almost every social engagement involves walking the dog, so I can do two things at once. But I guess the thing I'm really mindful of with friends is sometimes I notice a resentment because other people's lives appear to be a lot easier than mine. And I worry that sometimes I'll find it hard to relate to my friends because they're living a normal life and doing normal stuff and I can't. So I think some of it is about me being aware of that myself and not letting that fester. So that would be my sort of initial responses to that question.
Thanks, Claire. That's, you've kind of looked at all different aspects there and also the way that you're responding to your friends as well. It's lots of different things to consider. So thanks for sharing that. Ingrid, would you like to tell us a little bit about how your relationships are?
Yeah, well, the relationship between my husband and I has changed dramatically because he was is still a very large, very strong, very powerful, very forceful man. And we used to have a boat and, all of that has changed. And he's now sedentary and it really frustrates him. And I try to maintain a sense of celebration, if you like. Anything that we can celebrate, I do. and we enjoy that. And with friends, it's been very difficult recently, because I did have one friend who took up a great deal of my time, and unfortunately she became very demanding in terms of the times that we could talk. And as you know, in a caring role, you can never, you just don't know what's happening the next minute, let alone the next day. And unfortunately that all blew up, and so it was a very, very hard time. This is my third caring role, and I found various reactions from friends, from wanting to take over completely, being bossy, being critical, to others who you least expected. So that's when you actually find out who your friends really are. That's what I found, because the ones you least expected from are there, they're empathic, they, you know, I have someone who just out of the blue brings us food, and that's so incredibly valuable. Things like that. So they, you know, people are very kind, or they're not. And I just understand. I try to understand that they don't understand. They're not being necessarily awful. They just can't understand.
I think that's a really interesting point. Actually, sometimes it's rather than feeling, could maybe blame someone for perhaps behaving in a certain way that you didn't think was particularly kind, but actually they're unable to understand the situation. It's not due to a meanness, it's due to an inability to understand. And so I found that I'm having to like adjust my expectations around certain people now, and accept that that's okay, that perhaps I can't expect all these different things from that friendship that perhaps we once had, and that I might sort of choose to go to different people to get different things, and not one friend can be everything all at once.
It's those longest standing, dearest friends aren't necessarily the ones that come through this for you. Sometimes it's, as Ingrid is saying, that the surprising person, maybe someone you haven't known for long, or someone you don't know all that well, suddenly just goes, oh yeah, they could do with a bowl of soup. Whereas your dearest friend might be trying to fix you, or actually saying, oh, surely it can't be that hard. And it's painful, isn't it, when it comes from somebody that you really, really are close to. And, you know, sometimes that can cause a bit of friction. So there's so many different things to consider. And it's just another thing, really, for us carers to have to kind of manage and juggle with, which just makes our life even more busy and tricky. I'm going to ask both of our guests as well, what you found sort of helps when it comes to keeping those connections and friendships and relationships alive. So let's pop back over to Claire. What have you got, any sort of secrets or tips or advice for others?
I think the thing that I live by is a willingness to adapt, because, and I'm sure many of the people on this call experience this, you can't ever assume that the next day is going to be the same. You know, things just change all the time. And I've realised, I think at the beginning, I had this neurotic thing. Oh, I mustn't cancel things. Oh, I mustn't let people down. Oh, you know, I've said I'll meet them at, and I've realised that now everything is couched in, if my husband is feeling okay, maybe we could do X on Saturday. And I think because it's, you know, we've been so blessed to have this extra time, people know that now. And I think I probably feel less bad about cancelling things. I mean, I'm still neurotically stupid about it. I still feel guilty, but nothing like how I would have done 2 or 3 years ago. So I think I'm conscious that just when I think I know how the land lies, it changes again, and I have to adapt, and I have to constantly shift my expectations. And I've learned that, you know, my world shrinks all the time. And so I have to just keep accepting. Like last weekend, I saw some very young climbing friends who seem to not mind hanging around with old people like me, which is great. And we just went for a really, really, really local walk with the dog, because I don't want to leave my husband on his own too much at the moment. Whereas perhaps a year ago, I might have thought, oh, I can go half an hour away or an hour away. So it's just about, you just have to work with what's there. Otherwise, you just get frustrated and annoyed.
Very wise advice there, Claire. I mean, that goes for all things caring, really, doesn't it? It's having that shifting sands, and just and setting the expectations low, right from the start. Yeah. Ingrid, how about you? What do you find works for you?
Well, I do a lot of I do a lot of work online with people, and so I'm not isolated in that way. Most evenings I'll contact a friend and have a video chat with him, and we joining Mobilise. I think I might be your best advertisement, because it just completely transformed my life. Because at last there was a place I could moan, and and people get it.
Yeah.
Whereas other friends don't get it, and you don't want to always moan anyway. And so, and also we're very fortunate because the village hall is at the end of the street, and they have all sorts of activities, a history society and a film club and so on. And so it's a very active village in that way. And then I do go to a carers group as well, where they're actually physical people. And that's quite nice, actually.
It's good to have the balance of in-person and online, isn't it, Ingrid?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. And it sounds as though those are new connections as well. So they're people that you might be meeting since starting caring. And I think that might make a difference. Sometimes the people we knew before can't quite understand why things have changed, whereas people who've met us since we've started caring take us at face value and go, oh yes, that person doesn't always turn up because there's stuff going on at home.
Yes.
And they maybe just have a bit better of a grasp of it than our long-standing friends.
The doctor recommended this for me about 16 months ago, and I resisted it because I thought I don't want to sit with a lot of old people moaning about what's happening at home. And that's then, since I've been going, I won't miss it. And it's lovely. And they're not a bunch of old people. I'm old myself, so and they don't moan. There's no moaning. It's fun. It's like nursery school. We're painting next time with
Well, that's lovely. And that, that's good for all the carers out there who are thinking about, oh, do I really want to join my local carers coffee morning? Is it going to be a load of old people moaning? That's really nice to hear that it's not, because I think, those things, we can sort of keep a distance, can't we? Because it might not feel like what we want to do.
Very different situation, but would you have any advice for someone trying to date while looking after a parent?
I should perhaps answer that because I'm the only one here looking after a parent. Technically, it's blooming hard when you are in a house with your mother, I have to say. And I mean, my partner lives kind of 100 miles away in Bridgend, where I used to live. He comes here when he can, and we try our best to have really special time together. But I have to say it's very rarely intimate, because not only is my mum in the house, but her carers are in and out as well. We have very little privacy. So for us, really, it's about going out to have quality time together. And very often because I live in Pembrokeshire, which is a holiday destination. So I'll quite often, we'll go camping, or we'll get an Airbnb 10 miles away and just book that, just to have some quiet, private time together. But then, of course, that's not financially, within everybody's reach. So that is a real challenge. But I think as well, this is an established relationship. It was quite a new relationship, but it was established. We've been together a couple of years, and my partner had met my mum previously, so he knew her before. And they have the most amazing relationship. They wind each other up and they tease each other. It's a massive test on the person you're dating, a massive test. And if they can get through that, if they can accept your cared for person and chip in and help you, you've got a good one. So I would definitely, if they can't cope with your caring relationship, then perhaps they're not the one for you, perhaps. Well, let's draw our thinking together, and let's take a little bit of time to focus on where we are and what our next steps might be. So we've talked about the issues, and Claire, what would be your next step, do you think, at maintaining these ever-shifting sands that you're dealing with?
Well, I think I'm the world's worst at asking for help, and I think for me it's about being more comfortable with that. So actually, and I have actually done this. So the Zen group that I practice with has a monthly meditation day up at the Priory in Norwich, which I'd so love to go to, but it just isn't realistic. And last time I did it in the bedroom, and that was fine, but it'd be really nice to not do it in my bedroom and to feel I'm kind of getting the benefit of this retreat. So I did actually ask my friend if I could borrow her garden building for the morning, and she said, of course you can. So tomorrow I'm going to the beautiful Stawell Valley in North Essex to sit in my friend's lovely garden room in the morning, log in by Zoom to do this meditation retreat, assuming all is well here. And what a brilliant compromise. And I've been willing to put my friend out. She won't for a second feel put out. But I've just taken that step because I hate the thought of putting anybody out or being cheeky, which is so stupid, isn't it?
Not cheeky, definitely not cheeky,
No.
Claire. Thank you. Ingrid, what would you say would be your next steps for keeping your relationships and friendships going?
Well, I'm thinking of going away, and it's going to take a lot of planning. And there's somebody at the other end who I thought of contacting, a friend from 20, 30 years ago. And so I think I'll do that today. I'll send a message and ask if we could go out for dinner or lunch or something.
A massive, massive thank you to our guests today for your insights and your honesty and your time. We know how precious that is, both Ingrid and Claire. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for talking so freely.
Yeah, so freely, and so much wisdom and honesty. It's been really, really lovely. So thank you so much, everyone.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye
Take
bye.
care. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.